What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you. I know the surroundings look a little bit different. I'm on the road today, but I needed to come to you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. Hope you guys doing well today. A lot going on in college basketball. We got a new number one team in the country that hails from the Big Ten Conference. We'll get to that in a second. But if you want to join the tribe, the inner circle that is Bardo's Breakdown, text me 312-847-2739. We have a lot of fun on the text chain. I don't do it a lot. I'm not going to blow you up. So if you want to join, you're more than welcome. If you want to join the email list, stephenbardo.com/Bardo-basketball-newsletter. Should be easy enough to remember. stephenbardo.com/college-basketball-newsletter. If you want to be a part of the newsletter, that's kind of hype too. A lot of people are enjoying that. So yeah, we're gonna get into it a little bit. A lot going on in the conference, a lot going on around college basketball. I don't know if you guys heard about Coach Beard at Texas was arrested for strangling a family member, and they got a game tonight. And he was still in jail last time I checked. Just a really bizarre story, and I'm really interested to see how they spin this one. All right, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's kick it off. Team of the week, the Purdue Boilermakers once again, because why? Number one team in all of college basketball, AP. Number one. Houston gets beat at home by Alabama, the previous number one ranked team. So now Purdue, unbeaten, had a scare this weekend. But they are the number one team in the land for the second year in a row. Remember, they were AP number one, and then they went on the road to Rutgers, and Rutgers upset them. So congratulations to the Purdue Boilermakers team of the week. Player of the week is Zach Edey of Purdue. 17 rebounds and 7 blocks against Nebraska, and Purdue needed every one of those in an overtime victory, 65-62. Zach Edey is the number one player, according to Ken Palm, offensive efficiency, number one player in the country. The Purdue Boilermakers are the number one offensive efficiency team in the nation. Now, I know their last game against Nebraska being held to 65 points will knock that down a little bit, but at last check, they were still number one in the country. So congratulations to Zach Edey. Not team of the week. I shouldn't. Okay, well, yeah, I guess player of the week, team of the week, Purdue, but also team of the week that did the most damage, in my opinion, was Wisconsin. They took down previously unbeaten Maryland, who's a really good team already with wins over Illinois, St. Louis, and Miami, in a narrow loss at Wisconsin. But Wisconsin gets to win at home. Then they go on the road, and it was improbable because they had control of the game throughout the second half, and then Iowa forced overtime, back and forth, and then Wisconsin gets to win. So 2 huge wins at home against Maryland, previously unbeaten, and then goes on the road against an Iowa team that was really riding high, even though Chris Murray is not playing because of a lower leg injury. But Iowa just blasted Iowa State earlier in the week. I mean, it wasn't even close. They were up 20 points for majority of the game and got Fran McCaffrey's 500th win. So congratulations to Coach McCaffrey on his 500th win. But Wisconsin Badgers just keep defying the odds. All right. The Illini with a great win in Madison Square Garden against number 2 Texas in overtime. And then they come home and get smacked. I mean, smacked by Penn State. I believe Penn State had 51 points in the first half. Jalen Wilson Pickett had 15 points and 7 assists in the first half. They really jumped on the Illini. So it was the best and worst of both worlds for the Illini this week in terms of beating number 2 in the country and then coming home, not being at Penn State, being at home and getting smacked by the Penn State Nittany Lions. And we'll have more on Brad Underwood's response to that. It's pretty interesting. I want to see what you guys think. Ohio State wins a controversial game over Rutgers. by now, most of you have probably seen it. Um, Ohio State's down 2, missed free throw by Caleb McConnell of Rutgers. Bruce Thornton, the freshman point guard, gets the rebound. He's advancing the ball. Caleb McConnell does a great job wedging him towards the baseline. Thornton leans in and hits Tanner Holden with the pass. Tanner Holden goes up for a 3, caught nothing but net. Ohio State wins the game, but upon further review, Tanner Holden was standing out of bounds as Bruce Thornton is advancing the basketball. As soon as Bruce passes it, Tanner jumps back inbounds, catches the ball, and hits it. The officials don't see it. So in college basketball, if the whistle isn't blown, you cannot go back and review. In the NBA, in the last minute of the game, everything is reviewable. So I'm hoping that the NCAA will move that rule, because the technology is there, to have them go and be able to review the last minute of any play, of anything happening, whether the officials blow the whistle or not. I think that this would alleviate some of these controversies and things, because Rutgers played their hearts out on the road. It was a fantastic effort by them, where Rutgers in the past has struggled on the road, but they brought their A game. It was a great battle between Zed Key and Cliff Amorie up front, and it just a controversial end to a game. Ohio State gets the victory, but it looks like Rutgers probably should have won that game, because Tanner Holden didn't have 1 foot. He had 2 feet, both feet out of bounds. As the pass was coming, he steps in bounds, he catches and shoots. And we were able to see it in studio that night, obviously, because we got the benefit of instant replay. So congratulations to Ohio State. You get the win. Tough break for Rutgers. This was a game I covered. Purdue narrowly escapes at Nebraska, 65-62 in overtime. Now, see, everybody was asking me about Purdue and how good is Purdue? And I said, I need to see the freshman guards on the road in the Big Ten. Braden Smith struggled. The Purdue Boilers got a phantom call in overtime that helped them seal the victory, because Braden Smith lost the basketball. There was no foul, but yet there was a foul called by Courtney Green, and there was no foul there. So Purdue got a good break. Now, throughout the game, Nebraska was face guarding and boxing out Zach Edey. Face guard and box a guy out like that. That's illegal. That's a automatic foul. And so Nebraska was kind of getting away with that. So the way I look at things kind of balance themselves out throughout the game. But Braden Smith has been outstanding all year long, the freshman point guard for Purdue. He struggled. And that's what happens with freshmen on the road. But Fletcher Lawyer, oh my goodness. I believe he had a career high, and he might have the play of the week, where they ran a play for him and he's coming off a down screen. He curls, but instead of catching and looking for the shot, he catches and goes a hole and dunks it. It could have been an and one, but it was a critical juncture of the game. It was a big time play that you would expect from an upperclassman, not a freshman. So Fletcher Lawyer played great. Braden Smith struggled. And so you're going to have these situations on the road when you're depending on 2 guards, not 1, but 2, to be on the floor and make plays for Purdue Boilermakers. And they're #1 team in the country. And again, Nebraska is a much improved team. They played very well. Sam Griesel came back and played in the game. He wasn't great offensively, but his presence really helped Nebraska. They got it into overtime, and they had a chance to win, but Purdue did enough to escape. Indiana loses to Arizona in Las Vegas. Trace Jackson Davis is not 100%. He's been having back issues. He's been trying to nurse it and play. I think Indiana will shut him down for a couple weeks. They've got Kansas coming up on Saturday, but after that, they've got a couple of non-conference games before the Big Ten regular season resumes, and I believe Indiana will shut Trace Jackson Davis down to allow his back time to rest, to get ready for the grind of the Big Ten. So that would have been a heck of a matchup with a full strength Indiana. And we don't know if Jalen Ushafino will even be back for Kansas because he did not play against Arizona. So Indiana really trying to overcome this injury bug. Maryland loses on the road at Wisconsin. Then they lose a close game to Tennessee. They were down 15 or 17 points in the second half, and they looked like they were dead in the water. But Jameer Young led a nice comeback, and Maryland gave themselves a chance to be right there at the end of regulation. But what happens, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times, especially in college basketball, when you see a team come back from double digits against a good quality team like Tennessee, you expend so much energy that one kind of turnover or one indecisive play can swing the momentum back to Tennessee, and that's exactly what happened. But big up, kudos to Maryland. This is a very good team. They pushed Wisconsin to the end at the Kohl Center on the road. Then they go to a neutral site at the Barclays in Brooklyn and come up short against Tennessee, but nothing to hang their head about, because that was an outstanding effort by the Maryland Terrapins. And then the last subject that I have, and I want to get your guys' comments on this, and I'm going to play this clip. Illinois Illini coach Brad Underwood snaps. he snaps on his team. So let me see if I can pull this up. Nope, that's not it. I want to get that. So no, that's not it. Hold on. Bear with me, y'all. I'm going to get this right. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you guys. Oh, here we go. All right. Let's see. Take a listen to this and let me know what you guys think.
Inexcusable. Let's start there. But that's not to discredit anything Penn State did. They're good. I knew it. I've had this one circled on the calendar since the league schedule came out. And I knew we played in the Jimmy V. That's one pretty easy to get excited about. And I've known we're going to have nights like this with an extremely young team. I think we're the second youngest in the Power Five. I knew these nights were coming. I can live with all of that, except the complete lack of leadership and the complete lack of effort that was given today. Period. From the very first play that they scored to the two practices before this game, completely unacceptable. The lack of leadership on this team is zero. It is none. Inexcusable. We'll find out who wants to be a part of playing hard and doing it the right way. All the credit to Penn State. They deserve to win the game. They punched us in the mouth. They're old, the oldest team in the country, and they played like grown men. And we played very, very uninspired basketball from the second we landed from Madison Square Garden until now. We have been atrocious in practice. Maybe the two worst days of practice leading up to a game I've been a part of, and that's leadership. That's leadership. Plain and simple leadership. Put it in bold damn print. Leadership. Lack of. And no effort. That's what happens when you, in this league, when you have none of that.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me close that out. Come back over here. All right. So I want to get you guys' take on what Brad Underwood had to say there. He was really fiery. He was really disappointed in his team's lack of leadership and effort. And I get the effort part. I feel Coach on that. But I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. So the things that I got from what Coach was saying, he said that we're a young team, okay? But Terrence Shannon Jr. is a senior. Meyer is a grad transfer. Coleman Hawkins, I believe, is an upperclassman. Dane Danger is an upperclassman. So you've got a mix of guys who are young and some older guys, right? And so the lack of effort, I get, because you're going to have 2 or 3 games in a season where you just don't have it. And if Brad Underwood can see this coming up to the game, isn't part of that on the coaching staff? In some of the leadership, isn't that a part of the coaching staff? Don't the coaches have to take a little bit responsibility, especially if they saw it in practices? Like I'm not advocating that Brad Underwood go back to Lou Henson style, but the first 5 minutes of practice, Lou knew when we were BSing. And so he's like, if you're going to BS, then we're going to run. And, we'll run until you guys feel like you want to play. And nobody wants to run more than they have to, right? So that was a way that Lou Henson motivated us. A couple times we got kicked out of practice because we weren't bringing forth the effort. We didn't have the leadership among ourselves that he was looking for day in and day out. I think this is what Brad Underwood is talking about. He's looking for leadership day in and day out. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. Brad Underwood is spoiled because he had Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams. When you've got super seniors, these guys are invested in the program, right? How invested can TJ Shannon and Matthew Meyer be in the program when the majority of their career has been spent elsewhere, right? I get it. You come in, you transfer, you're on a top 15 team, you're balling out of control like Shannon has been. Meyer had a good game against Texas, but are these guys really committed? Can you really expect a transfer to come in and be as committed to someone that's been walking to class 3 or 4 years or 2 or 3 years? Can you expect Shannon and Meyer to be as dedicated and invested in the Illini program as an RJ Melendez or Luke Goody, who have been there for a little bit? You guys see where I'm going with this? So I don't blame Brad Underwood. I understand his frustration. I understand what he's trying to get out of his team because he is right. Player-led teams do way better than when the coach has to yell at them all the time, because the coach becomes white noise after a while. You tune them out if they have to talk too much. The best teams are led internally. So I get what he's saying, but this is a great example. This is why I wanted to expand this conversation. I'm going to get to you guys' comments here in a second. I want to get my thoughts out, and then I'll respond to yours. But this is not just a problem for Illinois. This is a problem for anybody that has a high-impact transfer that you're depending on night in and night out. Ask North Carolina. What's that like with Pete Nance? That's come in, and he's had to fit in with Caleb Love, Armando Bacot, I can't remember the other kid's name, Davis, RJ Davis, and they're shooting up all the damn balls, right? And Pete Nance looking around like, well, man, I got NIL money to come here. I can't get any shots, right? So this is the new era of college basketball. If you don't get old and you don't have guys that are invested in your program for years, you're going to have games where you don't have the leadership that you're looking for internally because they haven't been there long enough to be invested. Like, you can get excited beating UCLA and playing Virginia close and then going and beat Texas, but they're still only 10, 11 games in. They haven't even had a semester of class yet. You guys feel me? Okay. So I want to get that and see what that is. And before I do that, right before, check these out, y'all. I'm telling you, some lucky person bought one already, and they are the bomb. I'm telling you, these tumblers, it's not too late. It's great Christmas presents. However it goes in, if it goes in hot, it stays hot all day. If it goes in cold, it stays cold all day. So go to shopcustomizeit.com with a K. Shop, KUSTOMIZEIT.com. All right. So check those out. Customizeit.com for your flying Illini at Bardo's Breakdown Tumbler. All right. So let me get. I see. I got some comments that popped up here. So let me run over here and get to these. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Cause listen, you talk basketball all day. Kristen Bissell Trowbridge. I hope I said that, Christine. Thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate that. But the 5 minutes you spent talking football over the Purdue-Nebraska game was very frustrating. When we tune in to watch a competitive game, that's what we want. Christine, I'm going to light into you a little bit, okay? I'm going to light into you and all the other fans that watched that game, that there were 5 or 6 of you that were frustrated, but everybody else seemed to be okay. Because you know what? You all can turn down the volume. The game wasn't interrupted. You were able to watch the game. And so just like if because there are people that don't like when I call games, turn the volume down. You can still see the game. But half the people that were watching that game are Nebraska fans. And so whenever Purdue gets a chance to hire a new football coach, guess who's going to be on a Purdue game? The Purdue football coach. So when that happens, I want to see this same energy around being pissed off that a coach takes 4 minutes of a game. It's at the beginning of the second half. And you're like the 5th or 6th person that I've heard say this. And it's just like, what is wrong with y'all? Turn the sound down. You didn't miss any action. We're interviewing a coach. And if you all know anything about Nebraska football, you know that that's what it is. There are no pro teams in the state of Nebraska. Nebraska sports is it. They don't have, so Nebraska doesn't have to split the state in half with Indiana like Purdue fans. They don't have to do that. And I'm not trying to upset anybody here, but I'm just like, man, turn the freaking sound down. You could see the game. You didn't miss any of the action. And you're frustrated because we're talking to the new football coach in Nebraska for 4 minutes. Get over it, guys. Get over it. That's weak sauce to me. When you shoot 71% from 3-point line, that's like shooting 105% with 3-point shots. Andrew, who shoots 71% from the 3? Refresh my memory there. Happy holidays. I watched that Nebraska game. You're right on that for alcohol. I saw the replay. There was no foul call there. Who was that number 30 for Nebraska? Oh, he said his name, and I can't think of it right now, but first name I spelled it. Oh, okay. I don't quite know what you're saying there, my partner. Sorry, I supposed to say who is number 30 for Nebraska. He's a good player, but you're right on the foul call. There was no foul call there. Purdue was lucky on that one. See, here's the thing. This is why I don't get into officiating that much, and thank you for that comment, because things balance out in the course of a game. So Nebraska was not getting called for illegally boxing out Zach Edey. Hey, look, I get it. Why Brian Bach, why Derek Walker, CJ Wilcher, Sam Griesel, everybody had a chance to try to help box out Zach Edey and keep him off the glass because he's 7'4", 290 pounds. I get it. But when you face guard and box out, that's an automatic foul. And that wasn't being called throughout the game. So I don't get into the officiating that much because they do a fantastic job. 99.5, 99.2% of the time, they get it right. And things balance themselves out. So it was an unfortunate call there in a critical time. But my theory about refereeing is that things, you might not get the call that you prefer early in the game, but it usually balances itself. You get a break or two down the line. So that's what I think. It was unfortunate, and you're right. There was not a foul there, but that's the way the game. That's why I think basketball is very similar to life. Whoever came up with the phrase "ball is life" was very apropos because I think basketball is the best illustrator of life itself. Mel Hewlett, one of Carbondale's finest in the house. Can the Giant live up to the voice of all those Boiler faithful? He's the number one player in the country right now, Mel, statistically, offensive efficiency wise, and he's only getting better. His stamina is up now. He's playing 30 minutes a game. He was only playing 19 minutes last season. His stamina is excellent. He stays out of foul trouble. His footwork is excellent. He's a juggernaut on the glass, and he's playing with fire and passion. I love covering Zach Edey, and so I think he will. I wouldn't bet against him. King Tao, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hell, you are the head leader, coach. I don't know about that. Where is the coaching blame? See, that's what I'm saying, right? He threw it in there at one point. He was like, look, I take blame, but it was kind of, he really put the emphasis on the players. And I'm like you. If you saw it for 2 days, what did you do about it? If you knew that this was happening, what did you change to get a different outcome? Or did you let them go for those 2 practices and complain to the assistants and knew that you were going to have a bad game? And then when you come and get smacked at home, you get upset by the players. I'm with you. As a head coach, you have to take some of that responsibility. And it's a fine line whether you throw your players under the bus or not in a press conference. Now, TJ Shannon handled it very well. He had a tweet. I should have put it up. But he said, listen, don't trip. We got the best coach in college basketball. He will get us ready to play. I'll see you guys next Saturday. He took the high road, which is what you would expect from an upperclassman like Terrence Shannon. I don't know if you guys know, this young man has high character, and I believe that's one of the reasons why Brad felt comfortable enough doing that in the press conference. You got to know if a player can handle that or not. And I think Brad knew that Terrence would handle that in the right way. Plus, it's a season low offensive output for Shannon, 4 points. So obviously, there was something there in the lack of preparation. But great question. I thought the same thing. They just weren't locked in. Yeah, OJ, and thank you, OJ, and thank you, Facebook users that don't show up. Thank you very much for sharing this time with me. I appreciate your time as always. No, they weren't locked in. It's a trap game. You know, you get up for number 2 Texas in Madison Square Garden. Underwood referenced that during the post-game interview. But to be considered one of the best teams in the country and fighting for a Big Ten title, you gotta hold your serve at home. You can't let a team come in and beat you like that. It could be nip and tuck. It could be last minute. It can be a last second shot. But you can't have a Big Ten team come in and beat you by 15 points at home. Not if you want to contend for a Big Ten title. So I agree, OJ. They weren't locked in. I think Sincere Harris could be that leader. Facebook users, you're not coming up. Okay, here's the only reason why it's difficult for Sincere Harris to be that leader. He's only played 10 college basketball games. It's really hard for a freshman to come in and try to tell upperclassmen what to do. It's almost impossible unless you're the best player on the team. Sincere Harris plays the hardest consistently of anybody on the Illini team, but he's not the best player. And the only way a freshman can come in and command the respect of upperclassmen is generally if he's the best player on the team. Now, I know there's exceptions to this rule. There are freshmen that come in with unbelievable leadership qualities. And that's I believe Aaron Kraft may have had that for Ohio State. He came in as a freshman and had these uncanny leadership skills. I think Braden Smith at Purdue's got some uncanny leadership ability as a freshman, but he's not calling the shots on that team. Okay. So it's very hard for freshmen to be that type of leader that can command respect of a Matthew Meyer, who is a national champion, of a Terrence Shannon, who on a Texas Tech team that's gone deep in the tournament. It's really, really hard to do that. But I understand where you're going with that. Thank you. I saw that Illinois score that kind of surprised me. Yeah, it surprised everybody because Penn State is a good team, ladies and gentlemen. Penn State lost at Clemson in overtime in like 103-97. It was a shootout. They were balling. Then they lost to Michigan State. Michigan State came in to Penn State, and Michigan State was ready. They were coming off a loss at home to Northwestern. They did not want to go 0-2 in the conference. And Izzo, the Hall of Fame coach, got them ready to play. And they ended up winning at Penn State. It was a dogfight, 66-59, I believe. It was a dogfight. And A.J. Hoggard really played well. But, they were ready. And Penn State is a quality team. You guys will see. They're 7-3 for a reason. They're not Cupcake City. Seth Lundy, Andrew Funk was unconscious against the Illini. I mean, they blitzed them. So that's a quality team. Mel Hewlett. I subscribe to Dr. Harry Edwards' premise of the locker room being the new frontier and the coach's job to find ways to have trusted staff close enough to the locker room to know for certain who are the informal leaders and ways to placate and incorporate them. Your season is won or lost in that locker room. Mel Hewlett speaks from experience, ladies and gentlemen. He's a Hall of Famer in Carbondale, had a great career at Southern Illinois University. He's been a successful businessman and been around the sport for a long time, and Mel knows of what he speaks. And so those leaders and that locker room culture is everything, because these players spend more time with each other than they do anybody else. Classmates, dorm mates, if they are in dorms, the basketball team is their family, and every family has dysfunction, whether it's a little bit or a lot. And the good teams have a little bit and they can control their dysfunction. Mediocre teams have a little bit more dysfunction that creeps into the game situation, and bad teams, they just go for broke. So Mel knows. Thank you, Mel, for that. That's really good. Dory Melman Petrillo. What's up, Dory? Good to see you. I think Illini have a communication issue on the floor. Coleman needs to be the voice on the floor. He is passing ball to players who are not getting to the spot. Now, you got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Coleman is a vocal guy. He's more of a lead. Watch my example is how I see Coleman. He's not a guy that's going to, pull a guy over to and whisper in his ear, "Hey man, you're okay. Keep going. Take the next shot. Don't worry about it." Or, "Come on, you're better than that. Let's go. Get to it." I don't see Coleman having that type of personality. So, and this is a generational thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just an Illini thing. Coaches all over the country struggle to get guys to communicate, to open their mouths, to talk on defense, to talk on the floor. They struggle with this. And older teams generally have a much better way to communicate. I think you saw that with Penn State against Illinois. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were hitting on all cylinders. They were going to the hot hand. If they had a defensive breakdown, Seth Lundy would step to the player that did it, or Jalen Pickett. Illinois still haven't. The players are too new. There's too many new players on this team. They don't have enough games under their belt to figure out who's the leader, because you don't find a leader when things are going well. You find a leader when you're getting your butt kicked, right? And nobody really emerged against the Penn State game. And these guys in this generation, they won't go challenge a guy and almost embarrass him in front of each other. They don't communicate like that. That's not what they do. So it's going to take some time for the Illini to emerge with this leadership. Now, Coach Underwood wants to be Terrence Shannon. Is he that dude? We'll see. But it takes time. Lula Hill, good to see you. Thanks for joining. I love you calling games. And Bruce Weber. Man, I love listening to Bruce. Bruce has got good stories. I mean, he knows the backstories. He knows all these coaches. He's probably coached against a number of them. He knows the intricacies of what coaches are trying to do. So his knowledge base is so refreshing, and he's a affable guy. He's a no nonsense guy. He's a straight shooter. I've always had great respect for Bruce Weber. and I'm really happy that he's with the Big Ten Network. It was similar to having John Beeline there that year with the Big Ten Network. They've got so much wealth of information that they can share, and so it's really good to see. Curtis Dietz, what's up, Curtis? Show is running a bit early. Yes, glad I was able to catch some of it. Yeah, I'm on the road. I had to get this in based on time constraints of what I'm doing today. So I needed to get it out and get it to you guys. And so thank you for joining in. I know it's a different time, but thank you, Curtis. I appreciate you. Oh, what's up, Chef Brian X? Good to see you, man. I made the coaching blame comment. Yes, happy holidays, my brother. Seems you can't see the Facebook users' names. Yeah, I'll figure it out at one of these situations. Thank you, Adudu Satria. I think that's how you say it. If it's your first time, welcome. Thank you for joining. Underwood's rant was mild compared to Weber's farewell from Champaign in 2012. I trust Coach B. Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't think it was unnecessary or over the top. I just found it very interesting because, to me, the overarching idea that I took away from it, we're in the transfer era, and transfers how can they be as invested in the program that they just transferred to? They just got there. They've been there. He's been there over the summer, and he's just finishing up one semester of his classes at Illinois. So how invested can you be? It's just my opinion. And there's no knock against Terrence Shannon or Matthew Meyer. That's across the board. Any team that has a transfer that's supposed to be an impact transfer and really helping you win games, I don't know how much you can expect from them from a leadership standpoint because they're still trying to figure things out. Everything's still new. They've only played 10 games, okay? Roger Lowe, you did quite a bit of that leadership back in 87, my friend. Well, Roger thank you, by the way. Roger Lowe, one of our coaches with the Illini when I was there. And Coach Lowe understands that I'm a different dude. I'm a different animal. And it was a different era. I didn't mind saying something to Ken Norman because me and him could go fight. I mean, we almost fought a few times because I was that crazy dude. You guys know people who were little brothers and they had a big brother. My brother, Craig Bardo, was 6 years older than me. So to me, my brother looked like Zach Edey when I was growing up. He was huge and he would wear me out. But baby, as I caught up to him, now shit changed a little bit. Excuse my French. Stuff changed a little bit. I had that mentality going to Illinois. So anybody that was on the team, they were fair game. I'm going to check you. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I'm going to say something. And I challenge you to say something back to me because I won the 2-mile run. I tried to win the sprints. I couldn't quite beat Tony Weisinger because he was fast as you know what. But I tried to win everything. I worked my tail off. So I can say something to you because I'm not slacking. I'm going to win the effort plays. Guys don't think like that. We didn't raise this generation of parenting, we didn't raise our kids that way, unfortunately. And so Coach Lowe makes a good point, but I was different. It was a different era. They don't do that anymore. But thanks, Coach. Great to see you, man. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate your support. Curtis Dietz says Illinois looks like a 4 or 5 seed. Big Ten is going to beat up on one another. Hopefully they can get on a roll in conference. Yeah, they'll line up be fine. I'm not worried about Illinois because you want one of these games early in the conference slate as opposed to late when you're really jockeying for position and jockeying for a Big Ten conference title. I'm okay with it. Let them have it now where they can learn from it. They can adjust. They can go back to the drawing board. I think they'll be fine. 4 or 5 seed, Curtis, it's so early, it's really, really early. Let's see. I'm going to ask you what a former Illini legend is up to each week. What is Richard Keene up to these days? Richard Keene, that's a good question. I think Richard went into business. His dad was huge in the Rawlings Corporation. you guys know the sporting goods company. And I want to say Richard went into that. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look that up, Curtis. Thank you for that. And you're gonna keep me on my toes. That's good. Dawn Green, what's up, Dawn? Good to see you. David Green. I'm sorry. What's up, David? Good to see you, my man. Shout me out from Indy. Thanks for joining. Thanks for always coming on. I appreciate you. That's Donovan Lane over in Singapore. Good morning, good evening to you, brother. How you doing? Good to see you. Joe Stovall, tribe member. I just saw Pickett leaving his job at Pizza Hut on Green Street. He and Lundy were riding beach cruisers, passing a 40-ounce back and forth between each other. Grown men. I love it, Joe. I love it. That's a great description of Jalen Pickett and Seth Lundy. Those dudes are grizzled veterans. And Jalen Pickett, I know Jay Neps. There was a play in the second half where Jalen Pickett does the crab dribble as well as anybody in the conference. Man, he hit Jaden Epps with his shoulder. Epps went back about this far, just created enough space, but banged him, like just boom, and then went into his slow motion mid-range jumper in the paint, nothing but cotton. So yes, roll around on beach cruises, stopping at Piccadilly's to get that 40-ounce, baby. Oh, Joe, you took me back there, man. That was great. Thanks for that one. That's good. Kevin Jones. Good to see you, Kevin. Keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely a pro. They do cross sports interviews all the time. By the way, Eric Hawthorne said he doesn't remember any dunk from you in Mount Vernon, but jokingly said he gave you and the Terriers the business. Good luck. Keep up the great work. Kevin Jones, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Eric Hawthorne. I never lost to Mount Vernon. I'm just going to put it like that. Never lost to Mount Vernon and dunked on their whole squad. I got receipts, all right? But thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. Okay, King Tao. I've been wanting to ask you about Ken Norman. I remember when he came out here to play for the Clippers. You know what, King? Me and Snake fell out when I wrote the book, The Flying Illini, because, and I'm going to share this with you guys, Ken Norman got paid to go to Illinois. And so when the coaches say jump, he had to say how high. And so when I wrote the book and the coaches didn't like what I said, they had to call in a favor. And so Ken Norman comes on the Score radio in Chicago and said some crap about, when I see Bardo, I might have to daddy him or grandfather him or something. Ain't nothing changed, Ken. Ain't nothing between us but oxygen, bro. I'm in Chi-Town. I ain't left. So I'm still hot about that. That was years ago. So I don't know what's up with Ken Norman. But I felt extremely disrespected on the air. And the one thing I asked everyone who had criticism, I said, did you read the book? Quiet as church mice. Didn't hear a thing. So you're going to talk stuff and challenge without reading the book. But of course, you got paid, so you got to jump when they tell you how high. So I don't know what's up with Snake. You just got something out of me right there. But I don't know what happened to Snake. But me and him aren't cool. So I can't help you with that, King. But thank you, though, man. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Hold on. Let me see here. Did I get everything in? I think I did. I don't see any comments. Yeah, I think I got everything in. I think I scared everybody there. I went to a little rant. But I want to give you guys stuff because you're taking the time out of your busy schedules to tune in with me and share your thoughts and knowledge and wisdom with me. So I'm going to give you stuff that you're not going to hear everywhere else. Okay? So thank you. Thank you all for joining. Hold on, let me see. May have one more. Oh, Eric Flores. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for tuning in. I apologize for the weird time, but I needed to get it in. I think next week I can come back at the regularly scheduled time. I believe I'm okay on that. And so once again, happy holidays, all of you. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season and run up to Christmas and New Year's. I hope you guys aren't stressing too much about those gifts. Remember, Amazon delivers, so you don't have to do the madness of the malls if you don't want to. But I love you all. Be safe. I will come back to you. If you have any questions, come back, hit this, and I'll come back and answer the questions that I can. And we'll go from there. Oh, this week I've got two pretty good games. Creighton at Marquette Friday night on FS1. DePaul at Northwestern Saturday. That ought to be a fantastic game. Northwestern is better. DePaul is improved. So make sure you tune in if you get a chance. All right. Love you all. Happy holidays to you. I'll talk to you next week. Peace, y'all.